So I was watching RDC World talk about Avatar: The Last Airbender the other day, and they gave me the inspiration for this video. Which nation is actually the weakest? And at first, it seems easy, right? Everyone instantly thinks of the Air Nomads. But when you really think about it, it's really not that simple. Also, this timeline is set before the Fire Nation attacked, so people like Monk Gyatso are still alive, and the nations are still at full strength. So I'm going to go over each nation's strengths and their weaknesses, and see which one's actually the weakest. Let's start with the Water Tribe. Their ability to heal and bloodbend gives them a huge advantage, especially under a full moon. Katara alone showed how powerful waterbending can be when mastered. The issue is, there wasn't a lot of them. By the time the war started, most waterbenders were being captured and the southern tribe barely had any left. But even before that, they didn't have a lot of people. And while it's true that they won't always have water nearby, Katara kind of proved that argument doesn't hold up. She pulled water out of the air, plants, and even carried it with her. So yeah, the water tribe might be small, but their versatility and special abilities make them dangerous. Now the Earth Kingdom, and they're easily one of the strongest. They're massive, durable, and built like tanks. They've got entire cities made up of their element, which means they'll always have cover and ammunition. Their weaknesses, though, is that not all earthbenders can use the advanced stuff like metal bending or lava bending, which only becomes common in Legend of Korra. And they also struggle to battle when they're not on solid ground. Still, the Earth Kingdom's sheer size and defensive power make them far from the weakest. Then there's the Fire Nation, the aggressors. They've got size, power, and the most organized military out of everyone. They're all about offense, constantly pushing forward with ships, armies, and technology. Their elite benders can lightning bend, and every 100 years they get Sozin's Comet, which basically turns them into gods for a day. The downsides, they're not great defensively, and during an eclipse they lose all their bending. Still, with their numbers and strategy, you can never call Fire Nation weak. And finally, the Air Nomads. This seems like the obvious answer. They're peaceful monks focused on spirituality, but like RDC said, if they actually wanted to fight, it might not be so one-sided.
They're not soft, bitch. They just don't want to fight.
Think about it. They had Aang, who would have already been training to become the Avatar. And even without him, airbenders like Monk Gyatso were strong enough to take down dozens of Fire Nation soldiers alone. Airbenders have crazy mobility, they can fly, evade, and use bursts of wind to fight off groups of people. They can even make you use your own bending against you, like when Aang fought Admiral Zhao. The issue is, they just didn't want to fight. They lacked killing power, physical strength, and military mindset. Now if we're looking at population size, it probably goes like this. Earth Nation, Fire Nation, huge gap, Water Nation, and then Air Nation. The Earth and Fire Nation have so many more people, so just based on size alone, we can immediately take the Earth and Fire Nations out of the running for the weakest tribe. That leaves us with the Water Nation and the Air Nation. And even though the Air Nomads were smaller and more peaceful, they had one wildcard that changed everything. Aang. Even if he was still young, he would have started his training, and having the Avatar alone puts him above the Water Tribe. Because the second Aang enters the Avatar state, it's game over. So that leaves me with the answer that the Water Nation is the weakest tribe. I could definitely see people saying the Air Nation too, but this is just my opinion. So yeah, the Air Nomads might have been peaceful, but with Aang, they were far from weak. But what do you think? If the Air Nomads went all out, could they have defended the Fire Nation with Aang? Let me know in the comments. And if you made it this far, consider liking and subscribing, it's greatly appreciated. Thanks for watching.